Hey guys, and welcome to another tutorial video. In this video I am about to share with you two ways to create unique sidechain patterns. By that I mean not the basic 4 on the floor sidechain pattern. And what sidechain basically is like you're sort of making the instrument duck when the kick hits to give the kick more space. Now if you have a kick pattern which is not the basic 4 on the floor kick pattern, then you could do it two ways. The first way is by using the sidechain compression method. The sidechain compression is basically you open up a compressor plugin, go into the sidechain and set the sidechain input as the kick, and that sort of just compresses the sound when the kick hits, but that many a time will not give you your desired effect, and to get a standard effect you would have to keep tweaking knobs for hours, and I seriously prefer the second way, which is the sidechain ducking method, and that is what I'm about to show you. Two ways to sort of duck the volume when the kick hits without using a compressor. Alright, so the first way is gonna be by using one of my favorite built-in Logic Pro X plugins, but before that let's take a listen to what the drum pattern sounds like. Alright, pretty basic, and I have two instruments playing the chords. First is an organ, and the second is a pad, sort of a pad. You can't call that a pad. It's like a sort of brassy sort of. Actually, both of these are retro synths coming from this a contact library known as the Retro Machines MK2. It is actually pretty awesome. Gives you that retro analog vibe. I don't know why I named this pad, but I think it's the pad is the best way to name it. But yep, let's start sidechaining this. Alright, so for the first method I'll be using a brilliant plugin of Logic Pro X, probably my most favorite one, and that's the Fat Effects. It's a multi-effects plugin. It's awesome, and I'll use this because I guess this method works better for mild sidechaining effects, and I want my pad to have a mild sidechaining effect and my organ to have a more harsher one, and that's why I'm gonna do the second method with my organ. Though I prefer that you create the same sort of method for sidechaining all your tracks, or maybe different, depends upon what you want. In this case I would have created the same sidechaining method for both of these, but for demonstration purposes I'm just using two different ones. Alright, cool. I want this to have the softer sidechaining effect, and that's why I'm gonna use this and set the sidechain input as the kick. Now I'm setting it as the kick since the track in which my kick lies is named as kick. It could be anything as you have named it. It could also be audio or bass tracks. It just has to be the track in which your kick is playing and not anything else. Alright, you could also do the basic 4 on the floor sidechaining pattern with the LFO over here. In fact, I thought I'd do this sort of sidechain also using the LFO, but I found out that the LFO is not triggered by the sidechain input. What is triggered by the sidechain input is this envelope follower. Now we're getting really unconventional here, but I guess that's the idea. Be experimental, go crazy, just get cool effects at the end, and I think this gives you cool effects at the end of the day. Alright, what this will do is it will create an envelope according to the kick for my sound, and it will do exactly the opposite of what we wanted to do. It will sort of the sound will play only when the kick hits. And also first I'll change the target to the master output. I don't want the filter cutoff to be modulating, and this is actually the advantage of using this plugin. I guess you could assign stuff to a whole bunch of things like band pass, distortion, bass enhancer, so it's almost like serum. You could modulate anything with anything, and just let me show you what this sounds like right now. Let me just switch off the organ. That actually sounds pretty cool, but for the purpose of what we are doing today, I guess I'll have to reverse this thing to create the sidechaining effect. Also, another thing I might suggest is that you keep your attack at 0.01 seconds, because otherwise you might end up having a effect where it seems like it is out of timing, which you don't want. However, it doesn't happen like that always, since here I am at a very fast tempo and I've got quite a few kicks in a very short time span. It is essential I do this, I guess, because I want a more rhythmic effect. However, these knobs and everything is just as you wish. And also to reverse the effect, I'll have to set the depth to a negative value, and as you can see, the output here, the blue line goes the other way. And now you can sort of play around with the release and depth knobs until you like it. Alright, sounds pretty cool, I guess. I guess that is it for the first method, and now I'll move on to the second method, trying to sidechain my organ. Alright, so to sidechain the organ, I'll be using serum effects, and I'll be using the technique that AU5 showed in one of his videos. However, he did a particular sort of routing in Ableton using the Ableton's external instrument plugin, which he inserted on the channel strip settings, and I just had a very hard time trying to figure out how to do that in Logic. Logic has an external instrument plugin, but it sort of doesn't work on the channel strip settings. You have to create it on a MIDI or on a software instrument slot, which and also you cannot just send it to a particular plugin, the signal from it to a particular plugin rather. So I figured out another super unconventional way to mimic what he was doing, and it was by creating another software instrument channel and then setting the instrument as the serum effects. Yep, opens up after a few seconds. Also worth mentioning, you don't want a duplicate signal here, because now we're gonna send the signal from the organ to this place, which I'm just gonna name sidechaining for organization purposes. And if I'm sending this into this, it basically doubles the volume because there are two signals, and also you just cannot mute this because then no signal will be playing and there will be no signal flow. So what you have to really do is change this output to no output, and in the sidechaining in the serum effects you have to choose the sidechain as the organ, and now what you should be hearing is that the organ is giving you no sound. Cool. And the sidechaining this channel should be playing your organ track. Alright, brilliant. Now one thing I found, it might be a bug in Logic or serum effects, or one of my mistakes, some settings problem, I don't know, but at the beginning of when I was trying this out, this signal was sort of not playing from this channel, and I don't know why it was happening, but I sort of fixed it by just hitting a note on my musical typing thing that I opened by Command K, or you could just play it on a MIDI keyboard if you have one. I guess it should work. But yep, I thought it's worth mentioning if you don't want to keep banging your head on the wall for 10 minutes like I did, because the sound was not coming out from this channel. Alright, now I'll do exactly what AU5 did. I'll pull up a distortion here, change this to the X-Shaper mode, turn the edit A to flat 0, and the drive all the way down. Also, I want to change the LFO to envelope mode so that it is triggered by the sidechain, and just create a sort of cool shape. I don't want it to be at the bottom over here, because it sort of makes the effect as if I'm playing the note once again, so it's better to create a MIDI note, I guess, in that case. So I'm just gonna pull it up so the note doesn't exactly stop playing at that moment, but its volume reduces. Cool. Now that we've got that, I'm gonna modulate the mix with the LFO and pull that backwards, and I should be getting a sidechaining effect. Not yet, because I don't have the MIDI information to trigger the sidechaining effect. Now here I'm gonna fake the drums. Basically, if your drums are audio, you will have to fake it on the MIDI over here. You have to just input the notes of the drums in the MIDI here. It could be any note over here. Just need to give it some information to trigger the LFO. And now in this case my drums are MIDI, so I'm just gonna copy my kick into this channel, and that should do the work. If you have, again, as I said, if you have audio, if you have your kick as an audio file, you will have to fake it in this channel. Alright, as you can hear, that gives you a pretty cool effect, but it might just sound out of rhythm sometimes, if especially you were to pull it all the way down, and in that case, again, since this is MIDI 100% customizable, you could change the sidechaining pattern also to create cool stutter effects like this one. I guess I could listen to this the whole day. Okay. Yeah, if I were to pull this thing hold down, you can find it happening. Yes, so those sort of effects, you could create them even if the kick was not there, and you could do a whole bunch of things here. You could create your own sidechaining pattern by just putting in MIDI notes, and I guess that's pretty cool effect. And let's see what we have arrived at the end. I don't know, because I haven't heard it before. I hope it's gonna sound something soothing. That's pretty cool. I guess that brings us to the end of this video. I hope it helped you. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. See you in the next video.